So this is our mind map about Janie, the main character from the book Tony Hogan Bought Me an Ice Cream Float Before He Stole My Ma written by Carrie Hudson. And when we have a closer look at the mind map, then we can see that it's more or less divided into 6 sections. We have Janie's circumstances, relationships, behavior, other characteristics, roles, and positive characteristics. And we can see that when it comes to her positive characteristics, when we look at it as first, then I've mentioned courageous and responsible, where courageous is explained further by that she's a bold girl with dreams, as for example that she wanted to become a lawyer, and she has a fighting spirit. And that we can see throughout the book, as she as a young child is really taking a huge load on herself, trying to help out where she can, many times taking care of her own mother. And here another part is responsible, where we can see at her working moral, and the way she takes care of herself. She And that's connected, of course, to what I mentioned already, that she really became an adult in a very early age. Though she had a lack of support, and but she did become skilled and a hardworking woman. Um, so when we go on, then we have her circumstances, and I mean, she was born, um, and she was taken care of by a single mother who was on and on in a very unstable relationships. But as a foundation, she did have a mother who tried to fight for her, even though she had great struggles to really provide and take care of her. And in that way, she was robbed of her childhood because she could not really just be a child, and from a very early stage on, she had to take care of herself in order to survive. Um, and throughout her years, she's been pushed into corner, neglected and abused, and both by adults in her life, but also from some of her peers, as she was also bullied at school, and in the end, she also got raped and made pregnant, and that leads us to the relationships that she had. And when we look closer, when we have a closer look at her relationships, then we can really see that even though she did develop some relationships, they are quite defined by a lack of trust. I mean, she always tries to depend on herself, and that's also what her mom teaches her throughout the book. But that also means that Jenny also feels lonely at times when she doesn't really have any adult that she could really share with. But at the same time, it also leads her to really try to hang out mostly with her friends, and that means also that she gets involved with other young people who are not healthy, and that's why she doesn't have any healthy models in her life. And one of the very negative facts in her life was that her own mom was having multiple sexual partners throughout her life, and that's the same way Janie decides to go. If it's a conscious decision or it's just a natural progression in her life, that's what happens. And but she's all in all just really trying to fit in. Then looking at her behavior, it's very, very, one could say colorful, but it's very it's varying over time. And I mean, the book basically records around 16 years of her life, where she starts as a really good daughter, well, with with a lot of good intentions, and she's loving and caring towards her mother. She listens to her, tries to take care of her, and she's able to keep secrets. She's really interested and tries to wrestle through her life and being supportive. And she develops some coping mechanisms, because of the things that she experienced are simply way too difficult to cope with, and and therefore she ends up hanging out with her friends so much. But part of it, that part of that the fellowship is not healthy that she's part of. She goes and uses alcohol, drugs, becomes promiscuous just to um, get through the days, which she mentions many times, and watches a lot of TV um, at times, and really, because there is not this safe environment, she suppresses her emotions, and she's searching at the same time. I mean, also when it comes to faith, but she seems quite confused. Um, one could say, but basically, she's just really trying to survive, and she's using the tools that she was taught, and and it's really difficult in the relationship with her mom. So she sometimes tries to confront, but she doesn't really see that it's leading anywhere. So she basically accepts the reality the way it is, even though time to time it comes up, and she expresses her dissatisfaction with the way things are. And so she becomes rebellious. She at times ditches classes and is not performing really at school. And one could say that she seems irresponsible, um, at least when it comes to the school and taking care of herself. But she wasn't taught how to be responsible. So so she does what she can. And then we can see other characteristics, and we could say that really she's this innocent child that is basically a victim in the whole story. She's seeking, she's brave, she's wild, young, she tries to be sexy. Then she has a period where she is hanging out with people who are gothic, so she wears clothes like them to fit in. Um, then she is obedient at times, and at the same time, when she becomes a teenager, she really becomes disobedient. But I see it just as a call of desperation, and really she is depressed, and but at the same time strong, and scared, and I guess there's just so much going on inside of her. um, but there's anyways this kind of call for being pragmatic in the whole situation, because she's pushed always to just be the adult, in her life because there were not any adults really taking responsibility, any other adults. And then, so just to wrap it up, we have all her roles. She's a student, she is a sister, daughter, granddaughter, employee, on and off, and then she is also a mother, even though she decides to abort the child. Um, but that was the choice that she took as a mother. Um, she kind of decided not to take the role on because I guess she didn't think she was ready for it. So that was our mind map. I hope that I made myself be understandable. Thank you.